Well, Bungie actually did it again. They dropped a 10 out of 10 expansion. And while I did enjoy the Lightfall year for the most part, community sentiment last year was at an all-time low, and Bungie's backs were really up against a wall. Last year, the Final Shape review was pretty lackluster, I think we can all agree on that. And then the seasonal model was getting pretty stale, and then the layoffs at Bungie happened, and all of this stuff was just culminating to make us think that the Final Shape was going to be pretty bad or pretty mid, honestly. And community sentiment seemed to start changing around Into the Light. The communication with Bungie was at an all-time high. They were giving us a bunch of features that we all wanted, bringing some of our old favorite guns and missions back, delivering on new PvP maps, and most importantly, showcasing some of the cool things we would be seeing in the Final Shape, such as the Prismatic subclass, the new Pale Heart location, and the new enemy faction, the Dread. So the expansion's been out about a week now, and how does the community feel about it? They absolutely love it. Obviously you won't please everybody, but online you will see that everyone is overwhelmingly positive, especially compared to the last year of Destiny. I recently just came out with a video about the last year of Destiny and how Lightfall wasn't as bad as people say it was, at least in my opinion. So I'm not going to harp on any of that stuff or reiterate any of that. You can watch that video if you want. But I just want to talk about my initial thoughts and experience with the launch of the Final Shape thus far. So I'm a longtime Halo player, and I used to play Call of Duty a lot back in the day, so when they announced Destiny 1 back in like 2013, 2014, I was ecstatic. I pre-ordered that shit as soon as I could. I took off of work and everything. I made sure that release day or the first few days, I was ready to grind, I was ready to play. I didn't know much about the game. I saw some trailers, that's about it. I didn't follow closely in the community or anything like that. I just saw the trailers, I'm like, I'm game, Bungie, you got me, man. And although Vanilla Destiny 1 was a little lackluster and like the story department and all that, it absolutely hooked me right away. With the gear chase, the gunplay, everything like that. It was amazing to me. I didn't really care about the story, honestly. It was pretty basic and bare bones, but the rest of it hooked me. And now we're at the Final Shape. And this is probably my favorite expansion they've ever released. And it's only been a week, so there's still plenty more to do. The story itself was awesome. I've never really been engaged in Destiny's stories on it. I mean, maybe Witch Queen a little bit, Forsaken a little bit. But I mean, I've always just been addicted to the gunplay and the build crafting and all that kind of stuff. The story was kind of second to me. But this time, I'm actually interested in it. I mean, the Witness is a pretty compelling character, and you hear the backstory and the lore of him, and they actually kind of explained who he was and all that. I mean, it was interesting. It's a real villain that kind of raises the stakes. The mission design was pretty fun. I mean, it kind of combined mechanics from everything we've ever learned into one campaign. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I played on Legendary right away. I didn't have too tough of a time. It was challenging. The last mission took us about 2 hours the first time. But it was challenging, but just the right amount. They pretty much improved on everything that people complained about in Lightfall. Such as like no annoying characters. Cade had just the right amount of, Cade-isms. The patrol area isn't very hard, but it's very satisfying and has just the right amount of challenge and things to do to keep you entertained. And it's the first linear destination, which is just an interesting concept for the game. Prismatic is awesome. I mean, we all agree with that. It's so fun to combine all of the elements together into one subclass. It just opens up build crafting to a whole new level. I haven't even got to try the exotic class items yet, because those don't release until Tuesday, along with episode Echoes, which is included if you bought the Final Shape, so that's just some extra content that's going to be, I don't want to say drip fed, that makes it sound bad, but some extra content being pumped into the game throughout the next few months. And also with the story, at the end there, the way they ended this was probably the best way they could ever do it. Like, I didn't think they could deliver an ending that was actually as impactful as it was. I mean, the community got to, Mission 7, we beat it. The Witness retreated, and then the raid came. I was originally going to try the raid during contest mode, but after kind of watching some streamers struggle with it all day, and then some of them even going into like the 33-hour mark in order to beat it, I just wanted to sit this contest mode out and just see what the community had to say about it. Overall, the most expansive, crazy raid I've ever seen, with the most mechanics, and you have to be so dialed in and have your builds ready, and communication has to be at an all-time high, which is great. Last year was Root of Nightmares, which was add clear the raid. I mean, there was very few roles you had to play. You could carry 5 people through it and barely have to teach 1 or 2 of them how to play it. I mean, this was a massive departure from that, which is exactly what the community was asking for, so no really room to complain there. And once the raid was beaten, which was over 18 hours, which was longer than the last record of Last Wish, was finally beaten, they unlocked the very last mission for the whole community to play. That mission, Excision, was one of the coolest missions I have ever seen in Destiny. The opening cutscene with Zavala rallying literally every single character we've ever seen in the game, all into one battle, even like enemies like Savathun was there to help us. It was a total Avengers Endgame moment. It was so fucking epic. The mission itself was very fun, having the first 12-person PvE activity that was intentional in the game. Just so epic, so much shit going on, so many explosions. I don't know how old consoles are handling this, because that would be scary trying to load into that and see your frame rates drop into the 20s. Not only fighting with 11 other Guardians on the field, but there's also NPCs like Savathun's in the background, and you got Saint 14 dropping his bubble for you, and Nimbus and them dropping different things to help you out, like that artillery cannon thing you used in the Lightfall campaign, and hive swords and stuff. It was just epic. It literally a culmination of everything, everyone and everything we've seen and done in Destiny, just thrown into one mission, just to attack the Witness. In the very end of that mission, where your ghost sacrifices himself just to end the Witness once and for all, that was just the icing on the cake. And then afterward, the cutscenes that played after were awesome. Like, your ghost dies, and Cade basically gives his life again to resurrect your ghost, and you get to sit in the tower and celebrate, you know, the future. And then the ending where you just sit and watch the portal into the Traveler, as, you know, as Crow talks about the future and everything. Not gonna lie, I have never been emotional in Destiny's story, or almost any story in any video game ever. But I'll admit, during that ghost scene, I could feel those tear ducts swelling a little bit. Didn't fully cry, but, you know, they were there, so I felt the little vulnerability, which was actually pretty awesome. I've never felt that in Destiny's history. I didn't think that the final shape could make me feel anything like that. I wasn't expecting it at all. So I just wanted to make a video just to quickly give Bungie some praise. There's still more to come in this expansion. More is being unlocked. Echoes is here, which is included, so you don't even have to buy that separately. It's just here for you. Bungie really hit a home run with this expansion, and I hope they know that, and I hope that their backs don't have to be so far up against the wall in the future to do this again. We've been told they don't want to over-deliver, because then we expect it, and they can't always hold that promise. But look what happens when they under-deliver, and look where the community sentiment goes, and look how close Bungie could have been to flopping. I mean, they could have released another lackluster expansion that pretty much would have killed the game, and who knows, it could have killed Bungie in general. I mean, they got Marathon coming out. Apparently they have more Destiny 2 in the works now too. That could have killed them. And I'm so glad that they pulled out all the stops, similar to Taken King, similar to Forsaken, and they really delivered on this expansion, and they definitely deserve some praise for that. So thank you, Bungie, and here's to the future, and I hope it is bright.